I never believed one mistake could rewrite your entire life story until I met her. It started as a dare, a cruel joke wrapped in laughter from friends who thought emotions were toys. She's the new girl at the art studio, they said. Quiet, mysterious, and half-paralyzed. Go on, Mason, ask her out. Let's see if your charm still works. I wish I could say I refused. I wish I had the courage then that I have now. But at 24, I was shallow enough to say yes for all the wrong reasons. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and that people deserve to be loved for their hearts, not their flaws, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark. This story isn't just about me. It's about how one person's pain can heal another's soul. It was a bright afternoon when I first saw her. The sun poured through the glass windows of the studio, catching the dust in the air like golden confetti. She sat by the far corner, a sketch pad on her lap, her long auburn hair falling across her shoulder. Her right leg was braced in metal, and she moved with careful grace, as though the world had taught her to measure every step. Her name was Aria. When I introduced myself, she looked up and smiled, a shy, genuine smile that didn't fit the cruel reason I was there. I remember my heart skipping for a reason I couldn't name. I told her I was there to learn painting, though I hadn't held a brush since high school. She laughed softly, the sound like the wind brushing through trees. Then you're brave, she said. Most people don't try things they know they'll fail at. It wasn't pity that kept me coming back, at least not anymore. Aria was different. She saw beauty in the smallest things, in spilled paint, in silence, in people trying their best. She never talked about her condition unless someone asked. All I knew was that a car accident had changed her life 3 years ago. She'd lost part of her mobility, her fiancé, and the dreams she'd once painted on every canvas. Yet she smiled. She smiled as though pain was a passing visitor, and she refused to let it stay. Days turned into weeks. The more time I spent with her, the more the dare felt like a wound I wanted to hide. She taught me to paint skies that bled into oceans, and I taught her to laugh again, or maybe she taught me what laughter really meant. I remember one afternoon, the sun glowing orange over the rooftops. She was trying to mix shades of blue for her sky, her hand trembling slightly. I reached over to steady it, and she froze, her eyes meeting mine. For a moment, the world was quiet. Then she whispered, "Mason, don't look at me like that. You'll make me believe you mean it." I didn't answer, because for the first time I wasn't sure if I didn't. Our relationship unfolded gently, like pages turning in a book we both feared to finish. We'd go to the park and watch children chase bubbles, or sit by the riverbank while she sketched the way light touched the water. Her leg brace clicked softly with every step, but she never let it slow her joy. What struck me most was how she never asked for help unless she truly needed it. There was pride in her pain, an invisible strength I couldn't look away from. Then came the night everything broke. It was her birthday. I had planned something special, a surprise dinner at her favorite restaurant. My friends found out and, in their usual way, started teasing. "Still seeing the charity case?" one of them said. I snapped, told them to shut up. But one of them, trying to be funny, leaked our original dare to Aria in a group chat she was in. When I arrived to pick her up, she was sitting on her porch, her sketch pad torn to pieces beside her. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and her voice shook as she said, "So, was I just a challenge to win, Mason? A joke you could brag about?" I tried to explain how it started, how it changed, how I changed, but every word sounded smaller than her silence. Finally, she whispered the sentence that tore through me like lightning. "You don't have to stay if it's pity." I wanted to hold her, to tell her it was never pity, not anymore. But she turned away, shutting the door softly, as if she didn't want even the wind to hear her cry. That night, I drove for hours without direction. Her words echoed through my head, louder than the rain on the windshield. The days that followed felt endless. I stopped going to the studio. I couldn't paint, couldn't sleep, couldn't forgive myself. I tried texting her, calling her, no answer. I even dropped off a painting at her doorstep, one I'd made of her sitting under the golden light she loved so much. But it remained there for days, untouched. Then one afternoon I received a message from an unknown number. "She's at the hospital," it read. "She fell during therapy." I didn't think twice. I drove like my heart was on fire. When I reached the hospital, she was sitting in a wheelchair near the window, sunlight falling gently on her pale face. She looked smaller somehow, fragile yet still radiating the quiet strength that first drew me in. I walked closer, unsure if she'd even want to see me, but when she turned her head, her eyes met mine, and something inside me cracked open. "You came," she said softly. "I never stopped caring," I replied, my voice barely holding together. "I just didn't know how to fix what I broke." She looked at me for a long time, then said, "Mason, I don't need someone to fix me. I just needed to believe someone could see me beyond what I've lost." That was the moment I realized love isn't about rescuing someone. It's about standing beside them, even when you can't lift the weight they carry. Over the next few weeks, I stayed by her side, not because of guilt, but because I wanted to. I helped her during her therapy sessions, watched her fight through the pain with a courage that left me in awe. We painted together again, this time in the hospital courtyard. Her laughter returned slowly like spring after a long winter. One day, as she was sketching the sky, she said, "You know, the thing about broken people is they don't want perfection. They just want someone who won't run when the cracks show." She looked up at me, eyes glistening. "Are you that someone, Mason?" I nodded, tears burning my eyes. "I'll be here for every step you take, Aria. Not out of pity, out of love." Months passed. Aria's condition improved with therapy. She began walking short distances without the brace, her determination stronger than any medicine. Watching her take those first free steps felt like witnessing a miracle unfold in slow motion. I took a photo of that moment and framed it in our apartment later, with a caption beneath, "Strength is not walking without pain, it's walking despite it." Life wasn't perfect, but it was real. We learned to laugh at small things, to cry when we needed to embrace every sunrise as a promise of another chance. Aria started hosting art classes for kids with disabilities, teaching them to see beauty in their scars. I helped her set up the studio, our studio, and every corner of that place carried pieces of our journey. Sometimes she'd look at me and say, "You know, I still can't believe you stayed." And I'd smile and reply, "I didn't stay, Aria. I found where I belonged." If this story touched your heart, if you believe love can grow from the ashes of mistakes and that broken souls can heal together, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark. Your support helps spread stories of hope, redemption, and the power of genuine kindness. Before I end, I have one special request. In the comments below, write, "I believe in love without pity" if you felt something while listening to this story. Because sometimes what the world calls broken is exactly what teaches us how to love whole again. And that, right there, is how I was tricked into dating a half-paralyzed girl and ended up finding the kind of love that mends everything I didn't know was broken in me.